Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 192 for March 10th through the 16th. We start with troubling news. News Vision reported allegations of sexual harassment by male coaches within Uganda's national team setup. In a separate blow, the Lady Cranes have withdrawn from the penultimate round of the World Rugby Challenger Series in Poland due to visa issues. This raises questions about who will replace them. Brazil kicked off its Rugby World Cup preparations with a win over Portugal and now turns its focus to Spain this weekend. The 2025 Guinness Women's Six Nations also get underway this weekend, featuring Ireland versus France, Scotland versus Wales, and England versus Italy. In club action, Gloucester-Hartpury became the first team since 2012 to win 3 straight titles, while in Hong Kong, Societe Generale capped off a perfect season by edging Natixis Ice in the Nan Fung Group AIRSIDE Premiership Final. Stay tuned as we round up all the global premier and club competitions worldwide. I'm Wendy, here to bring you the latest in women's rugby news. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. We'll start with Sevens news. A Uganda player has alleged sexual harassment by male coaches within the national team, as first reported by New Vision. We've attempted to follow up on this and we can't find much more information. But if you look at some of the social media comments, it is very concerning that there are a lot of comments that they're hoping that this player who has come forward will not be punished. So there is a pattern of punishing these types of players. Unrelated, or at least we think it's unrelated right now, Uganda has also withdrawn their Lady Cranes team from the World Rugby Challenger Series. It's the qualification round in Krakow after citing visa issues. So we're wondering who's going to replace them. Belgium's ranked 9th. Will they be invited to Krakow or will they go down deeper in the list? It really just depends on who is still available. PR7s here in the United States is bringing elite rugby development to Portland. They're looking for academy players. And then, of course, there'll be some camps as well. Let's switch over to 15's news. Brazil kicked off its Rugby World Cup preparations with a 19-12 win over Portugal, securing victory with a late try from Carol Pereira ahead of the next match against Spain on March 22nd. The 2025 Guinness Women's Six Nations kicks off this weekend. England eyes a 7th straight title. Wales is looking to rebound from their wooden spoon. And there's some new law innovations along what's been happening in most of the game throughout this last couple of months. We'll start with Ireland versus France, Scotland versus Wales. And then on Sunday, England takes on Italy. In the United States, you can watch on Peacock. And then it was announced that the Six Nations will stay free to air in the UK through 2029, with ITV and BBC sharing the men's championship, while the BBC airs every women's and under-20s match. For the first time ever, Spain will have contracted players leading up to the Rugby World Cup. It includes 32 contracted players. They're on a contract for the next 6 months to train for the 2025 Rugby World Cup. They have a remarkable 11 matches in 8 months. Some of those have passed as well, but they're the first ever funding for this team ahead of the Rugby World Cup. Now let's take a look at Premier and Club news. Gloucester-Hartpury made history yesterday as they became 3-time champions. They're the first team to go back-to-back-to-back since 2012. They pulled away from the Saracens in the 55th minute, who had kept it very close at halftime. They had a couple of yellow cards, did Gloucester, but they held firm, winning this one 34-19. Over in Hong Kong, Societe Generale capped off an undefeated season with a 7-3 win, a very tight match over Natixis Ice in the Nan Fung Group AIRSIDE Premiership Final. A new era will kick off in the United States this weekend as the Women's Elite Rugby, the first ever professional women's rugby, will have their opening weekend of their inaugural matches. We're going to see New York take on Boston this weekend, and then Chicago will take on the TC Gemini. We are still awaiting news on how you can watch these matches. We have heard that an announcement is imminent, so we await that with bated breath. And USA Club D1, Seattle still leads Pacific Northwest. Utah jumped to first in the Frontier, and the Dallas Quins are still on top in Red River. In D2, Life West leads NorCal. The Atomic Sisters moved up in Southwest, and the West Coast Marines are still unbeaten in SoCal. As far as D3, only one region in activity, but Dallas leads Red River. And we also included our super regional brackets. A first look. We're still waiting on seeding for a lot of those, so we'll keep it updated as we can. Only 2 matches in the last 2 weeks for the Welsh Premiership as postponements continue, but Llandaff still continues to lead the pack. Vancouver stays on top after 6 rounds of the BC Premier, beating Burnaby Lake, while Seattle took down higher-ranked Castaway. Railway Union edged out UL Bohemian 17-10 in a top-of-the-table clash to stay in front after 17 rounds of Nigeria AIL, while Blackrock College, Wicklow, Setonians, and Cook also secured wins in the penultimate round. Krat and CR Mahadahanda will face off in the Iberdrola final on March 30th at Elvenia, renewing a rivalry that has seen Mahadahanda take the last three meetings, including a dominant 41-12 win in the Super Cup. With one round to go in the South Africa Women's Premier Division, Bull Daisies have secured their place in the final. We await the matches this weekend to see who they will face. With a few rounds to go in the Uganda Premiership, the Black Pearls remain unbeaten at the top, with the Thunderbirds right on their tail. The Warthog powered past the Reds 36-14 in Super W Round 3, with Maya Stewart's record-breaking brace leading the charge, while Fijiana Drua stunned the Brumbies with a last-minute 21-15 win, and Western Force claimed a 41-29 development victory over Penina Pacifica. The Blues dominated Matatu 28-7 in a top-of-the-table clash to stay unbeaten in Super Rugby Opaki, while Chiefs Manawa bounced back with a commanding 46-7 win over Hurricanes Poa, setting up a Round 4 showdown against the Blues in Hamilton. That does it for all the news on our video this week. Of course, there's more on our site at yscrugby.com. Never miss an episode of Women's Rugby Rundown by subscribing on Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, and of course, all of our favorite social media channels.